The administration policy on Syria is incomprehensible. Sometimes you have to choose between a strategic ally, like, say, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, and human rights, and you decide, okay, I'll give up on rights because I have to protect a strategic ally. But Syria is an enemy, an ally of Iran. It funneled fighters into Iraq who killed Americans. Here's a regime teetering at the edge. There's a genuine revolution, and we are doing and saying almost nothing. It is a scandal.
Hasn't the State Department been pushing for engagement with the Syrian government so that they can weaken its allegiance to Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran?
And for the same reason that Obama spoke so weakly about the revolution in Iran in 2009, because he had a fantasy of negotiating with the mullahs over the nukes, which was, of course, a fantasy, and thus he did nothing. Here they've had this idée fixe of negotiating Assad out of his alliance with Iran and Hezbollah, which Americans have dreamed about for 30 years. It is a fantasy, and in the name of that, he sent an ambassador into Syria, still there. He has to be withdrawn tomorrow as at least the beginning of a statement of opposition to the regime.
Charles didn't note that part of Mrs. Clinton's statement, which I think was at the opening of the show, actually did denounce what was going on in Syria. But secretaries of state always do these sort of little formal dances that don't mean a lot. What I think probably any administration would realize that there's a limit to what we can do about Syria. You don't want to get so far out there that you're involved in something that you can't do something about.
Well, we're involved in Libya. We're sending drones in now.
There we have some capacity. Some of us on this panel didn't think it was a great idea to get involved there either. But at least we have some capacity. In Syria, we don't have much of a capacity
Why
to
is
do
our
anything.
ambassador still in Damascus?
Let me hear from Mark.
I'm envious. I wish I was as sure of anything as Charles is of everything. I would say that the most important
that's
and
why
urgent,
I sleep so well and I look so young.
It obviously is. The most urgent priority that we have is to find jobs somehow, not simply for Americans, which is an urgent priority, but for young Egyptians. That is going to determine whether, in fact, this revolution is going to take root and take a positive development.